straight to the point. I unplugged my negative clamp from the battery, from the 12-volt battery, waited about 5 minutes, plugged it back in again, and my temperature gauge came back alive again, and my AC started working. So that's straight to the point. Now, if you want to stay for the video a little to learn a little bit more, uh, so I got that issue about 10-15 miles ago, right? And I had no temperature. It was all the way to the bottom here. It was completely dead. I turned the engine on and off a few times, nothing worked, and my AC was not blowing cold anymore. And so I proceeded to do that, and then immediately after reconnecting the battery, boom, my temperature gauge came back on again, back up, and then my AC started blowing cold again. And I think what's happening is really the issue. It's within the cooling system, and as a fail-safe, it's disabling the ECU, the computer of your car is disabling the AC compressor to reduce the load on the engine, since it's assuming that something's wrong and the engine is not cooling properly. And so that disables your air conditioning. Where this can become dangerous, what if you don't notice it? Because let's say you don't need the AC, it's cold temperature, and you don't care much about the AC, and you might have this at 0 and you don't know, or in the engine doesn't know if your engine is actually cooling down or not. It might pop up codes later or whatever. In this case, I drove it only like 10 miles and I never saw any codes, no check engine lights, no other symptoms other than what I just told you. So I think what is really going on is something within the electronic side of the cooling system is causing this to stay at 0, and could be from starting from the engine, right? A bad coolant sensor not working properly, and by me resetting everything, I kind of force everything to reset all the electronics. Or it could be also the connector there at the coolant sensor, or the wires being close to heat. They became too brittle. But at 4,000 miles, I don't think so. But if you're working on an older vehicle, I would check that, the connector, the coolant sensor, maybe take it off, clean it, put it back in, get a new one. Check your connector, check your wiring harness, make sure it's not brittle. If it's just a little brittle or whatever, cracked, remember, these are signals that are coming from there. It's just tiny little voltages that report to the ECU. So any little cracks create interference and mess up with the voltages, lowering or increasing the, so those are not the numbers that the ECU are expecting. And so it messes everything up and it turns this off. And so by turning this off, it creates a chain of fail-safes. In this case, it was the AC compressor. So I would check my attention more into the electronic side of the cooling system. Additionally, if you're still not solving that after doing everything I just told you, unplugging your battery, then I will probably scan. Maybe there's some codes that haven't just showed up yet. I will scan my ODV2 for any codes. If nothing's there, I will do more of a scan in the engine bay, checking all your wire harnesses, make sure everything's tight, especially near heat. Then your grounds, check around the bay. There's going to be a bunch of grounds attached to the bay, to the engine bay. Make sure they're tight, no corrosion. I would even jump into troubleshooting your battery a little bit, making sure you check the voltage when the engine is off, check the voltage when the engine is on, see the difference. It should be higher when it's on because it's charging the battery. If your battery is already old and has low voltage altogether, that can cause also glitches on your electronics, right? Especially if they're older, and again, if there is already some decaying on the wiring and low voltage, it's perfect for starting to create glitches like that. So that's where I put my attention. To summarize, this happened on a 2026 Chevy Express van with 4,000 miles. He's going to the dealership, of course, for further checkups. But for now, we got it up and running. We got cold AC again. Good luck with your troubleshooting. This can apply almost to any car, really, but especially if it's Chevrolet. You're probably going to see this in a lot of SUVs, pickup trucks, since it's almost the same systems. I'm not a mechanic, just sharing my 2 cents.